Just hold the 2 commandments for me. Let me just play with this one other image, and then we'll stop and do some stuff. God and goddess. Here's another great thing, I think, for us today. These Gnostics, they had a goddess. How cool is that? I think that's very cool. Because we thought, I grew up, do you think there was a Christian goddess? There is a Christian goddess. She goes by many names. The most popular is Sophia. And the whole myth of Jesus doesn't make sense without Sophia. I haven't even talked about her myth tonight. Maybe you can do that later. It's a brilliant myth. They didn't just take the pagan myth of the God-man, they also took the pagan myth of the goddess. There's residue of her left in the forms of Mary Magdalene and Virgin Mary. But most of her myth is cut out. We now have it. It's been found. We know what it is. We found old documents in Egypt in a cave. Gnostic documents. Tell the myth. We know what it is. It's fascinating. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. And fundamentally what it's about is this. There are 2 principles in the universe. And you can see them like a dreamer and a dream. And if you like, the God is the one awareness within which this dream of life is arising. And the dream of life, that's the goddess. That's the ancient mythology in a nutshell. So all of this, colour, touch, taste, sound, sensuality, thoughts, all of that, that's her. We're in her. It's all her. And then there's this mysterious presence within which it's all arising. And that's spirit and psyche. There's spirit, which is this mysterious essence, and then there's this flow of experience, which is our soul, our psyche. So, Jesus says, love God. And that's about love, be one with the thing which is holding everything within it. Be one with the one. Be one with the place where everything is united. The one essence. That's the first one. And then the second one, which is pretty much like the first, as he says, is love others as yourself. Because once you see there is only one self, they are yourself. So that you're actually meeting yourself in another form, in the separateness. Now, I suspect people here have had that experience. And it's one of love, isn't it? When you meet yourself through the separateness in another form, it's love. Because love is how oneness feels. When you love someone, or love a place or a thing or anything, it's because you're not separate from it. You feel one with it. Well, if you reach back into yourself and find that place which is one with everything and everyone, you love everyone and everything, even your enemies. Which has got to be the most confronting idea in the whole history of philosophy. And is the essence of Gnosticism. Hey, you can even love your enemies. What I love about that, it doesn't say don't have enemies. And it doesn't say like them. But it does say you can love them. Because you realise that you're one with them. So the whole thing turns out to be about love. So look, the resurrection, the death and resurrection is dying to identification with the separate self, the eidolon, and waking up or resurrecting, coming to life as what you really are, which is this presence right now, which is witnessing the whole thing. If you come deeply enough into that, that's gnosis. Except, and this is where I'm going to end my little spiel, it doesn't, Christian mythology doesn't end with the resurrection. There's another little bit that's left out. And it's left out from the traditional version because it involves the goddess. Because where it's all leading is to what they call the mystical marriage. Or the sacred marriage. Between Jesus and the goddess. Between the male principle and the female principle. And what that is when you come back into this place where you're witnessing all of this, you become one with what you're witnessing in love, and then there's no separation between spirit and form. For the Buddhists amongst you, it's the moment where you go, look, the first step is, oh, I'm stuck in samsara. Oh my God, it's all nirvana. Oh, samsara is nirvana. Nirvana is samsara. Our Christian tradition is the same. It's the same. Who would have thought it, but it is. You're stuck in the separateness. You're stuck in what they called the deficiency, is what it really means. And then you come back into what they call the fullness, the pleroma. The kanoma and the pleroma are their version of samsara and nirvana. The possibilities is the emptiness. It's possibility for everything. It's God. And then there's just the forms, which you get stuck in. You come out of the forms and you go, look, I'm not just Tim. Heavens above. I'm this presence. I can't see it. I can't touch it. I can't put my finger on it. It's just there. It just is. And then I can go, there's no difference between this and this. The kanoma and the pleroma are the same. The forms is the emptiness. The emptiness is the forms. The dreamer is the dream. What I'm experiencing is what I am. And that's the mystical marriage. And that is where the gnosis is taking us the whole time. To the place where it's not either or, it's both. And then ironically what happens, it seems to me, is that the coming back to life happens in the flesh. Remember that in the Jesus story? It's a big thing made of it, isn't it? He comes back to life in the flesh. He's not a ghostie. He's in the flesh. Why is that? Why is that so important? Because what happens is not, with this waking up, it seems to me, that we disappear off somewhere. And this is just like, hell with this. You can go through a phase of that. But it's not it. What happens is you come back to life in the flesh. And this starts being fantastic. This is where you're, because you're aware of this. Once you know the center, let's meet on the circumference, because it's so great, isn't it? We can touch each other and play with each other and hang out together and love each other. And it's the both which allows it to be so cool. We're separate and we're not separate. And because we are both separate and not separate, we can love each other.